Hello students, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. Let's begin with today's class. In today's class, we are going to study about fourth fundamental right which is given to the Indian people by the Indian Constitution is right to freedom of religion. So basically, we studied about many of the rights till now. In today's class, we'll study about the one more right, which is right to freedom of religion. Let's begin. So, right to freedom of religion. Any citizen of India can follow any religion of choice, can promote and propagate the same is mentioned in the provision of the Constitution of India. So basically, right to freedom of religion gives the Indian citizens the right to select or choose his or her religion, and they are free to promote it as well as to propagate the same. This thing is mentioned in the Constitution of India. But this right is to be enjoyed within permissible limits. But to enjoy these rights, there are also some rules to be followed, or there are some limitations, right? So that it does not affect the freedom of public. Why this thing is mentioned? Because to protect the life of others and to protect the freedom of other people, there are certain permissions and certain limitations to be followed, right? So basically, this religious right or the freedom of religious is given to not only for the freedom of ourselves but also the freedom of others, but there are certain limitations which need to be followed, and so that it does not affect the freedom of the people's administration, morality, health of the society, right? So to maintain the health of the society and maintain the freedom of the public, there are some certain limitations. The religious gathering, offerings or prayers are not included in this. So there are no religious gatherings, offerings or prayers included in the Constitution. The state of India does not have any religion of its own, or the Indian state is not run as per the principles of any religion or sect. So basically our principle does not run, or our state does not have any religion of themselves. Here in India, the people are free to choose his or her religion of her own choice, right? And no state is involved in any of the religion, and the decisions or the laws are also not made on the basis of any one particular religion or one particular sect or group. Sect over here means any particular group. The state cannot interfere in the religious matters or religious beliefs of any group. So there is no right of the state that the government does not have any right to interfere in any of the religion, or they cannot tell the people of that religion that why are you doing this or why do you believe this. Every religion has their freedom to believe what they want to believe and to select their own religion, and to they also have the right to for the principles, right? What that religion will do or what that religion will serve to the people, right? That all thing is dependent on that particular religion or that particular organization. No government is allowed to interfere in that matter. So basically, these religious groups have been given freedom to establish any religious organization. So along with that, they have their religious beliefs in religious matters, and along with that, they have also given the freedom to establish any religion. They can bring up their own religion and own organization, and can manage the administration of their religious and can manage the administrate them for religious and philanthropic aims, right? So their religious beliefs and their own perspective they can bring, and they can form a particular group, and they can pray to God or whatever their own choice, right? So the state cannot use the fund collected through the public taxes or public fund for the benefit and development of any specific religious or sect. So one more important thing, that whatever taxes the public is paying, that money cannot be used in such religious organization or to develop that particular religion, right? So it is basically their own fund. They need to bring their own fund and they can build their own organization. No state will help or give any fund for developing any particular religion or particular sect or group. The educational institution running on government grant cannot impart religious education or compel the student to participate in any religious education or attend any religious meeting. So along with that, the education institutes of government, they cannot bring any religious education in their studies, right? For example, there is no religious education like such as Ramayana and Mahabharata cannot be taught in any school, right? Because that is again a religious education, right? So the government does not have any right to bring any one particular education to their government school, or they cannot focus on one particular religious education, or they cannot also force the students to participate in any religious activities or to attend any religious meetings, right? So here the fourth right, which is the right to freedom and freedom of religions completed, will now move to the next topic, that is cultural and educational right. So people of various religions, various languages and culture live in India. So there are many people, many different types of people living in our India who follows many different religions, who speak different languages, who follow different cultures and traditions, right? So the people of India have the right to preserve their language, script, cultural identity and ethnicity. So the people of India, they have the right to preserve or protect their religious scripts, which means the religious stories or the religious books. They can preserve it, that means they can save it, and they can also make scripts on it. They can also preserve the cultural identity and ethnicity. Any educational institution which rely on the government grant cannot deny admission on the grounds of religion, caste, creed, language or any other reasons. So basically the cultural and education right gives the Indian citizens the right to participate or to get admission in any of the government schools, right? The government schools cannot deny or they cannot say no to give admissions on the basis of the religion, caste, creed or language. For any other reason they cannot deny that we cannot give the admission to this particular child. Because of this reason they have to compulsory have to give the admission in the government schools. So if any individual appeals to vote on the grounds of religion, caste or language, then it is considered as a malpractice as per the Act of 123 section Act of 123(3), right? So if any person gives vote on the basis of the religion, caste or language, then that thing is considered as an illegal or malpractice and you can be punished for this offense. Any of the state can frame a law and provide the right to its citizens to form and manage any of the educational institution based on cultural or linguistic minority. So along with that, the state also frames law, and they also provide right to its citizens to form and manage any of the educational institutions. So they can make any education institution or school on the basis of the cultural or linguistic minority, right? So there can be linguistic minority. For example, in Gujarat there is a linguistic minority, like we have Gujarati, we can open Gujarati medium schools, and like the linguistic minority can be made, right? So you can build in that particular state that type of education institutes or that particular minority. Like for example, in Gujarat there is Gujarati mediums Gujarati medium school, and you have the right to bring that or to participate in that minority, like linguistic minority. The state shall not discriminate in giving educational grants or educational scholarships from the state fund to any of the linguistic or religious minorities. See, again, here that is important point, that no doubt you can build linguistic on the basis of, you can bring the linguistic minority and you can make the education institution on the basis of the cultural and language, right? But you cannot deny for the scholarships, right? If there should not be that, okay, for example, in Gujarat there are all types of people living. There are Muslims, there are Christians, there are all type of people living Gujarati, right? So it should not be that in that particular state or in Gujarat only Gujarati people will get the scholarships or will get the benefits, right? So it should not be that, okay, only that particular state people or that particular language religion minority will get that particular fund or scholarships. Everyone has equal right to get the scholarships and to get the benefits which are being given by the government. If the state desires to take over or confiscate the property of the minority institution, then it can do so only after giving proper returns. In this way, important provisions in context of education institution have been made in the constitution. So this all are the provisions or the important rules which are made by our Indian constitution for the education institution, right? So this all are the rules which are to be followed by all the institutional or educational departments, and this all things are mentioned in our constitution. So over here I'm going to stop with our chapter. We'll continue the chapter in our next class. The next topic which we are going to study is about the right to constitutional remedy. We'll continue this topic in our next class. So till then, take care. Thank you.